Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. We're GABNet, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
We could talk about the saddest news that I've had in a long time. The Expanse has not been renewed for season 4 on the Sci-Fi, on the Sci-Fi channel. Yeah, to me, this is why Sci-Fi changed their name to Sci-Fi, because they don't want people to mistakenly think that they're into sci-fi or something like that.
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern, join Alex Bennett on the Ramble.
What is the rate at which Americans are killing Americans or just other people versus these criminals coming into the country from Mexico that, for instance, Trump talked about in his State of the Union address, the gangster invasion? I mean, do you actually
I will agree with you, shit? But do we want more crime? Do we want more crime? We don't want more crime.
So, but you want them to be able to come in legally, so that if they came in legally, you believe they wouldn't commit crimes.
Not to the level that the gangs and drug dealers.
Wait a minute. Why couldn't the drug people and the gangs apply here?
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
There's a wonderful line in Raiders of the Lost Ark where the evil French archaeologist says, you take this cheap watch and you bury it for 1,000 years and dig it up, and it's an artifact.
Yeah.
You know, I got a couple of old girlfriends. If you buried them for 5 years, they'd be artifacts too, you know.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight. If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
I'm not trying to bash the East Coast or anything like that. They just play a different style of basketball.
Well, yeah, and statistically, they have been the weaker franchise of the two.
Finally, you can get hot and bothered on Connections at 10 p.m. Eastern Monday, and by delay Tuesday through Friday at 1 a.m. Eastern.
One of the first video games I ever saw was a game that Points for Pete used to play. It was like stick figures, pimps and hoes, man.
Oh, yeah. Pimp Wars.
Pimp Wars. It was awesome. I was like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm beating a hoe and getting my money. What do you do? What? No, I'm beating a hoe and getting money. I'm like, no, that can't be right.
You buy AK-47s. And then a little voice comes on with Samuel L. Jackson that says, AK-47.
AK-47.
The very best there is.
Catch up on all the shows with our Weekend Flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GABNet. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before. Reasons why you tune into GABNet. Here's reason number 9, great celebrity guests.
So how many years is this now with Teller?
43, and that's 43 continuous. You can try to say Keith Richards and Mick Jagger go longer, but they take 3, 4, 5 years off. You know, even when they're together, they take the time off. Continuous, you know, no more than 2 weeks working apart, I think.
Wow.
Like being waterboarded for 43 years.
GABNet. Reasons to listen every day. Log on to GABNet.net for more. GABNet. It's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey, hey, listen, everybody, it's the Ramble, and I'm Alex Bennett, and we're here until, let's see here, midnight Eastern Daylight Time. But it is a Wednesday, and we love to talk to this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is the music of Larry Bubbles Brown and his orchestra.
his all-girl, Phil Spitalny and his all-girl orchestra.
Oh, you remember Phil Spitalny and his all-girl orchestra, huh?
I don't remember. I remember somebody telling me that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever heard of. I don't know who he was. I guess he's some guy in the 30s or 40s.
It was a band that made the assumption that people would want to see an all-girl orchestra because nobody thought women could play instruments, and that it was funny to see a woman playing an accordion, So he had Phil Spitalny and his all-girl orchestra.
Only you would know that.
Now, I don't want to be sexist about this, but I do know a fact about women's biology, and that if they hang out together, they get their periods in synchronization. Have you heard that one?
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what happened when this whole band went into their monthlies.
That's one bus you didn't want to be on.
That's one bus you didn't want to catch, right? But Phil Spitalny and his all-girl orchestra. I can't think. Were there any other all-girl things? They have like all-girl basketball teams and all-girl. Well, they had the all-girl baseball teams during World War II.
Yeah,
because there were no guys to play.
But was his band good, or could they actually play?
I don't remember. My father was a musician, and he used to tell you when there was a good band or a bad band, and I can't remember what he said about Phil Spitalny.
It seems like kind of a cool idea, actually.
Well, if you want to get laid. Because in those days you could have a casting couch, and I bet Phil Spitalny had one. You want to be in the band? Good, blow me. I mean,
blow me like you blow that oboe.
Like a tuba. Play me like. Give me a rusty trombone.
play Fly to the Bumblebee.
Is this bit we're doing? Is this wrong?
It's probably yes. Will be censored by the Me Too movement.
The Me Too movement. Yeah.
But like you said, the casting couch was just. I think that was just accepted. You knew that going in.
You always talked about the casting couch. Ever since I started in show business, I heard about the casting couch. Now, I didn't. That's not to say that I approved of the concept. I just knew that it existed, and that some women were being asked to perform sexual acts in order to get the jobs they had. I mean, quite frankly, if Harvey Weinstein, I had sex with Harvey Weinstein, I wouldn't let the world know about it.
No.
Especially if I maybe won an Academy Award for doing it. So I mean, the bigger question is, I mean, how many of the people probably shouldn't have said anything because they did kind of succumb to the casting couch in order to get a part or to get in good graces. I do think that Weinstein is a basic major creep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is a sexual abuse to even have to fuck Harvey Weinstein. Look at him, I mean, but it was also such a known in Hollywood. Hell, it's like my friend Shecky said to me. He said, I even knew it.
They were doing jokes about it on an old award show.
Yes. Who was it did the joke? I can't remember.
I know. I can't remember either. But they just they were so open about it. It was just like.
Was it Seinfeld?
It wasn't Seinfeld. It was
something. But it was when they were giving out the Oscars, the nominations. And the guy said something about not one of these women had to sleep with Harvey Weinstein. Something like that. And that was before the whole Me Too thing and the whole thing came out and so on. It was just like known in Hollywood that that's what Harvey did. And in his office, it wasn't like they were permitting it. They just went, oh, that's Harvey. That's what Harvey does. And all of a sudden, one day, the rules change, and now Harvey, of course, is out of work, and everybody's scrambling for cover. But he was really, everybody knew what he was doing, and it went on for years and years and years, and I would imagine there were those who didn't want to, and who were forced, kind of sexually, but I think there were also those that did it willingly because they thought there would be something in it for their career.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to ask the question, and that is, yes, he used his power to get laid, but to those women who willingly had sex with this disgusting human being to get a part, what do we say about them? I mean, the fact that they didn't say no shows to me a certain lack of bravery.
Yeah.
So I can't admire them. I can feel sorry for them, but I can't admire them.
Exactly.
And by acceding to his wishes, and by attempting to get the part because it was Harvey Weinstein, you only enabled the behavior to keep going on. So, finally a bunch of women said, that's it, no more, and it stopped. And that's what it would have taken back then. But there were women still willing to sleep with this slovenly pig for a part. And so were they not enablers is the question, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew can he get away with it? Obviously, for years he did. He can't now, but it's all in retrospect. We knew about Cosby for years. The Cosby thing went on, and for years people knew about it in the business. Yet nothing was ever done about it. And so I'm asking, like, who's guilty here? I think it's the people that kept their mouths shut. I think it's the people who thought this kind of behavior was okay, or, oh, that's just Harvey, or, oh, that's just Bill. It's I think there are a lot of people to blame, and some of them are the people who enabled it.
Definitely, yeah. That's a good point. And you can only imagine, like, in early Hollywood with no social media or anything, those guys must have literally gotten away with murder.
Well, I mean, social media has certainly changed everything, because, it's not only started a whole movement like the Me Too movement, but it also has gotten people in trouble, and it's also gotten people elected. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah, the downside, it's also gotten people convicted without a trial also.
Well, I always found that kind of behavior that Harvey Weinstein was engaged in to be absolutely deplorable. Even before it was in vogue for it to be deplorable. I found it tasteless. I always didn't like the way men that I would hang out with would talk about women. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but when you get together with guys and they go, "Hey, look at the jugs on that chick," and you go to yourself, "Well, is that really right?" And I would sometimes chastise the people I was with and say, "That's not right to say," and they would all give me a bad time about it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I just found it wrong. I found it. I put myself in the position of being that woman with the exceptionally big jugs. And having to hear this all the time, and also have people believe I was stupid or something because I had big jugs. So I always hated it.
You were a feminist.
Excuse me, folks. I guess I wasn't being a feminist when I called them jugs. Okay, so you can blow me. No, but I always found that behavior on the part of guys wrong. I didn't like that fraternity that men have with each other, And
I think, like George Carlin said, anytime people get into groups, they're dangerous.
That's correct. That's correct.
I think he's so right on. He said individually people are fine. They get together when they're in groups. They're dangerous.
My friend Jack Garfein, the director who survived 11 concentration camps, has constantly said to me repeatedly, he says, I hate the human race. The human race as a whole are terrible. He said,
he's right.
He said it's individuals that are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
He said there were individuals when I was in the camps who helped save my life, and they were wonderful. But the people who had me in those camps were a group.
Mm-hmm.
They were the Nazis. They were humanity. And and I tend to agree with them. The human race is deplorable as a whole.
They really are.
But individually, you have these people who are beacons of light. Am I surprised that there's a Harvey Weinstein in this world? No, I'm not surprised. Bill Cosby? No, I'm not surprised. I am surprised when I find somebody who's really good and really nice and really wonderful and treats the people around him with great respect. Then I'm surprised. I'm not going to laud it because that's the way they should be acting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so it's So, Bubs, anything happening career-wise that we should know about?
Career-wise, no. I think the career ended years ago, but...
I just realized I've been out of work for 5 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, as of the end of June. Yeah, I haven't done a radio show. Well, I've done a few. I did a couple of shots over WOR here in New York, and that was it. I gave up. I gave up because I knew that if I walked in the door at my age, nobody would take me seriously.
Yeah, and it's sad because you're so damn good. It's just...
well, I don't know if I'm as good as I used to. I mean, the audiences get smaller for the podcast, and, it's just harder and harder to get an audience. And it's, but I do it. I do it because I want to keep my chops up, although I feel I feel a little... memory loss, things like that impinge upon my performance. But I guess I don't sound any different now when I'm talking to you, but I feel...
No, I think, your voice sounds like... one thing that people change when they get older a lot is their voice, and your voice sounds really strong.
Yeah, well, I just, have a problem... I don't feel I have the same facility. It's a little harder for me to do this interview with you than it would have been for me, say, 20 years ago. That I have to be a little more attentive, a little bit more on. And what happens is, as you get older, and this happens to a lot of these people, you tend to rely on old tricks to keep you going. You're doing... A lot of people, when they get to be my age, are doing the same act today they were doing 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And they immediately go into performer mode, and then they do it, and then when they're off, they're old people again. I always like to talk about the time I was watching the David Letterman show when he was over at NBC, and when they were taping the thing across the hall, there was a show called Live at 5, which was a news show. And sometimes the people who were on that news show would come over and just sit in for a moment on the Letterman show. So all of a sudden they say, "Oh, look who's at the door!" And they take a shot of the stage doors at the Letterman show, and it's Bob Hope, or you think it's Bob Hope, but it's this guy who's hunched over. And looking like a very old man, which he was at the time. He had to be in his 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hunched over. And Letterman says, "Ladies and gentlemen, look who's here, Bob Hope." And immediately he stands up straight and he swaggers out onto the stage. All of a sudden, his demeanor, he suddenly switched on Bob Hope. And he sat down. "Well, I really want to tell you, blah 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 blah," and then goodbye, and he left. And they didn't take a shot of him leaving.
Collapsed backstage.
No, it's like it's time for Bob Hope. Okay, get the tire inflator out, and they blow up the doll. and it'll go to work. That's about exactly what was happening.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So, you go, hey, that's, So what happens is as you get older, you start, unfortunately, you start going into just what we call autopilot, okay? And I feel that sometimes I have to go into autopilot, and that bothers me because I always like to improve and get better and so on. But, the last thing that I ever came up with as an innovation is the thing we use now on the podcast, which is the Citizen Panel, in which I have a group of people all together talking using Skype. And I thought that was a new way of doing a talk show, because before it was just like somebody calls and the guy talks to him, and then somebody else calls and the guy talks to him. And in my case, a bunch, about up to 10 people call me, and I talk to them. And they all argue with each other, and But that was my last invention, and that was about 5 years ago. So,
well.
So, I mean, thank you for saying that I don't sound any different. Just inside I feel different. Plus,
I just feel like as we get older, certainly we're not as. I feel my mind is really slower than it was. And
do you find your timing has changed at all?
Yeah, it's just I can't riff very well at all, and I was never big on it, but sometimes my mind just kind of freezes.
Yeah, but do you feel that your timing has been altered at all?
No, I don't. I think that's still good.
Because the one thing a comedian, ladies and gentlemen, has to have is timing. Telling a joke, timing is everything. It's where you pause. Good example of good timing was Bob Hope. Bob Hope had great timing. Mm-hmm. Wasn't particularly fun. He also had one other thing. Here's what Bob Hope had that made him different than anybody else. He was not that funny as a comedian. In fact, his writers were not the best writers in Hollywood. But Bob Hope knew how to tell a joke. And he would say something, and then maybe you didn't find it funny, but he would then look at the audience after he told the joke.
Yeah, he had that look.
And people would laugh because he had a sense of authority about the joke he was telling. Does that make sense?
He had supreme confidence, yeah.
Yeah, it was what I call authority. And so you tell the joke, and then you look at the audience like that. Now you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And his posture on stage is one of the classic postures of all time. He just planted his feet on the stage and he just went to work. One of the other great postures in comedy was Jack Benny. But Benny was truly funny. Benny always made me laugh hard.
Oh, he was great, and he could take those long, long pauses.
Well, his timing was as perfect as comedy timing comes. He knew within a millimeter of a second how long to hold a face or to pause before he went for the punchline.
Yeah.
And it was I mean, if you watch some of his say midlife work when he was doing the TV shows, his timing was so spot on it is scary. And so if a comedian comes to me and says, who do I learn from? I say, well, watch Bob Hope's demeanor, watch his stance, and then watch Jack Benny for timing. But do you know who stole his stage persona and film persona from Hope? And he admits it, was Woody Allen.
Woody Allen always praised Bob Hope.
But if you watch a Bob Hope movie when all of a sudden he's in danger and he's going, well, I'm out of here. I'm not the guy. Whatever. That's the same demeanor that Woody Allen used in his persona in films when he was trying to get out of something. And it is amazing. You don't see it because they're two entirely different people. But they did a documentary on Hope, and Woody Allen was on it, admitting that he got a lot of his persona from Hope. And the only people that ever really totally realized it, remember SCTV?
Mm-hmm.
They did a thing. Shows. They did a thing called "Play It Again, Bob."
Oh yeah, with Dave Thomas doing Bob Hope and Rick Moranis as Woody Allen.
Yes, and that's exactly what they were saying, is that Woody Allen got his timing and everything from Hope. And it's right. They're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, who'd you like better, Bob Hope in the movies or Bob Hope on television?
I thought he was funnier in the movies. Like, I didn't find him like a particularly great stand-up.
Right.
Or like his material wasn't great.
Yeah. Hope was, to me, was great in the movies.
Yeah.
He and Crosby together were just heaven. Those road movies to this day still work. They're still funny.
Yeah, there's very few a comedy that holds up for 50 or 70 years is truly great, and not many do.
And I defy you to watch them and think they're sticking to a script, because it all looks like they're ad-libbing them, and they aren't. Those things were written rock hard, but they delivered the comedy in such a relaxed fashion that but anyway, I liked Hope better in the movies than I did on TV.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I like Benny better on TV than I liked him in the movies, but then again, he didn't have the greatest movie career.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, Jack Benny had that. I think it was a Sunday night show, and that was before age discrimination TV. He was an older guy then. I just remember I loved him.
Yeah. But do you remember also that they used to make fun about his movies?
Yeah, they don't.
They'd always give always make jokes about how bad The Horn Blows at Midnight was. And quite frankly, I love The Horn Blows at Midnight. Loved it when I was a kid. Love it now. I have a poster in storage of the movie. I love that film.
And everything I read was one of the most beloved guys in the business.
Oh yeah, no, they loved him. He was supposedly a sweetheart, just a wonderful person.
Yeah,
and very giving. Not stingy and all of that. But the thing is that I also, and I argue this about Benny, and a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying until I explain it. But Benny wasn't a comedian. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No, he wasn't a stand-up.
No, he wasn't a comedian. He was a clown. The difference being comedians tell jokes on people. Clowns have jokes pulled on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the butt of every Benny joke was Benny. And his writers wrote to that character beautifully. And the best example I ever had of it was an episode on TV where he goes to the supermarket, and this little kid comes up to him and says, "Are you Jack Benny?" And he goes, "Well, yes, I am, son." And he goes, "Mr. Benny, I play the violin too." He says, "Do you play as good as I do?" He says, "I used to." Now that is one of the most beautifully created jokes I ever heard in my life. You play like I do? He says, "I used to."
And then Benny would do that face.
He would do the face. Well, and I loved Benny. I was just, he was just wonderful. I can still watch those shows to this day. And I don't know, people are listening. You probably won't do it, but go find Benny shows. They're on YouTube like crazy. Watch them.
And they hold up.
You want to see good, clean comedy. They made people laugh hard without dirty jokes in those days. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And also great writers, too. Hey, listen, we've run out of time once again. That always happens when we're having fun. And what I like about you is you get me to talk.
Well, you know everything, so.
You're a great straight man.
I'm the Bud Abbott.
You're the Bud Abbott to my No, I'm not Lou Costello. Before we go, can I just do my one impression of this is Lou Costello when he has just seen a monster and is trying to tell Abbott that there's a monster. You ready? You ready?
Okay.
Let me see if I can do it. Right?
That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bubbles Brown.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
I was so busy doing something that I actually see here I am bare. I don't have my shirt on. Hold on a second. I always like to put this shirt on over me. Why? I don't know. Mainly because it makes the lighting look better. Notice that? And then I forgot with the hair, with the cap. Well, let's forget about the cap tonight. Who am I fooling? Okay. Anyway, just trying to do some things here. Can't figure stuff out anymore. The internets are getting to me. Let me see here. Let me bring up the citizen panel thingy, which is we have a citizens panel. If you go over to GABNet.net, you can find out how to join it. That means we have a whole bunch of people at the same time talking at the same time. Well, they don't talk at the same time because I can see them, so they raise their hand when they want to talk, and that allows us a little bit of the ability to be, shall we say, control the action. I'm trying to do two things at the same time here, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm talking in circles. There we go. All right. Okay. All righty. Well, we're running. And let me see here. Should I put on a hat? I don't know. Does it look all right? Okay. I don't know. I've just been out of it for the last day or so. I put myself on an antibiotic and for the tooth. And I shouldn't be doing it really because it's an old antibiotic I had lying around, but it worked. But it makes me loopy and dizzy and off point. So I don't know what the fuck it's, to say. But anyway, give us a call. We're sitting here just jabbering while we're waiting for people to call. But hi, everybody. Oh. I'm stressing over my my yearly medical examination, which he doesn't do that much. He checks the heart a little bit. He takes some blood. He sees if there's anything in the blood that's unusual, and then that's it. Last year, I had a bad blood count. I mean, it was just horrible. It was off the wall. If I told you what it was, you wondered why I was still alive. And I couldn't figure out why. So later on in the year, I had to take another blood test, and I looked at my blood panels, and now they were all wonderful. My cholesterol was terrific, my LDL was terrific, everything was terrific. What had happened is for that month, I had forgotten when I have one of these things where you take your pills and you put them in the little days of the week and the month and whatever, and I put them all in there. I forgot to put in the Crestor, and that's why it went sky high. Anyway, my heart is in good condition. Hey, look, two of us not wearing hats tonight. I think that's wonderful, Phil.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Why? We are exposing more skin now?
Wait a minute, I'm trying to turn you down. You're a little loud. You're a little on the loud side.
I haven't messed with anything.
Well, anyway, I turned you down. Okay.
Well, thank you.
I've turned you down a lot of times. So.
Yeah. Well, but you accepted once or twice.
Yeah, I've accepted once or twice. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I went to a Rolfer today.
Oh yeah, Rolfing is. I had that done to me a couple of times.
It's painful.
Oh, it's wonderfully painful.
Yeah. When I got done, though, I felt really good.
I had somebody who did Rolfing, and I said, okay, do it. And they did it. And, it's very painful. It's deep muscle massage.
Very deep.
Very deep. And you sit there and you're in pain. But, man, afterwards, you're exhilarated.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to be going once a week for a little while. And, I think that the chiropractor put the spine in line. And now the Rolfer is going to work on those deep muscles. He said I was really bound up.
They all say that, though, because they're trying to make themselves creditable. Well, you're all bound up. Boy, that's a tight spot there,
Believe me, I was bound up. And he's working on posture, the way I sleep. I bought this foam roller today. He told me to get on Amazon. It looks like a truck tire from an off-road vehicle. It's very aggressive. And so he had me do a couple of exercises on his. And when mine comes in, it's supposed to help.
Yeah.
It'd be nice not to be in pain.
Right.
And, today was one of the first days that I didn't feel all bound up.
Yeah. Well, today I feel woozy. I had my tooth was bothering me, and I felt it was getting infected, so I took some antibiotics I had lying around the house, and I looked at the side effects, and I've been really dizzy for a week, and it turns out that this antibiotic does that.
What's the antibiotic?
Metroxyl, Flagyl, basically. Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway,
I get a little Flagyl once in a while myself.
Yeah. How's the rest of you doing? How's the prostate coming along? Are you pissing your pants a lot, or is it getting better?
It's getting better. I'm prostate-less, and they took it out.
I saw a thing today advertised because. I'm always worried that I'm going to have it someday, mainly because I get illnesses everybody else does, but I'll probably be dead before it ever is a problem.
So psychosomatic?
No, but they had an ad for the cyber knife. Are you aware of this? Yeah.
Hospital on yourself?
No. It's a hospital that has the cyber knife for prostate, and they say that you can have your prostate surgery without lack of continence and a lot of other things. So
yeah,
I don't know what it does, but it must do something nice.
Yeah. Well, the thing that David Hayek had doesn't require a intrusive surgery.
Yeah.
We haven't heard back from David to find out if he had some reoccurring. Which is what I was told.
No, but today he just subscribed to my YouTube channel.
Oh.
Yeah, every now and then his visage pops up, in one way or another. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we miss him. Be nice if he called.
Yeah, but it'd be really nice if he called. But, I think he's there in Europe, and it's time is off, and,
Yeah, his father turns off the electricity.
He does. Didn't he say that? He turns off the electricity at midnight or something?
Yeah.
Who does that? I guess his father.
So I other than the Rolfing today, I mean that was my morning, and I was really surprised at the how much better I feel.
Yeah. So you do feel better.
Yeah. So you got any news today?
News of what? Oh, here comes Ray Renati. There we go. Who every now and then gets apoplectic because of you, but it's okay. That's fine. Hello, Ray. Let's see your face. Yeah. Oh, what a nice hat that is.
Well, you guys weren't wearing hats. I was listening, so I figured I'd make it up.
I'd make the difference. Yeah, you make up the difference. No, what were you saying about Phil? You were saying something?
I don't think Ray gets that apoplectic. It just has things he's passionate about, and has a difficult time accepting anything other than his point of view.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
By the way,
actually, I don't. I only get upset for like 20 seconds, and then I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, here's one that has been suddenly realized is a bigger story than anybody is reporting it, and it's two separate things that come in convergence with each other. The other day, the Justice Department, a judge, said it was okay for who was it? Time Warner and who was it to merge? AT&T to merge. And now Comcast is trying to buy up Fox. All right. Now the thing is that now you have AT&T, and they own a big media outlet. It has news outlets. It has movies. It has comic books. You know.
AOL.
Huh?
They got AOL.
Well, no, they don't. I think AOL split off. I think they actually dumped AOL. They left them over there in the dust, you know.
AOL's headquarters is over near me now. They have one little tiny building.
Well, you know,
it's almost nothing.
Years ago, when they were building the AOL Time Warner building, Shecky was walking by it with a friend of his, and Shecky looked up at it and said, you know, by the time this building opens, AOL won't be on the building. And sure enough, he was right. You know, he was right. But here's the deal. So now you've got and then you add to that the fact that net neutrality is over with because the FCC killed it. So what does this mean? All of a sudden, isn't it interesting that all these internet service providers are buying up media? And that means that eventually you're going to see a situation where, hey, you got AT&T, you can get all the Time Warner you want, but you can't watch Fox.
Did I get this wrong on this net neutrality? I thought it was overturned.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. No, they were trying to, and they're still trying to. But no, but Ajit Pai brought it into being just the last Monday.
Okay, for one reason or another, I thought they said it was overturned.
Think about how terrible this is. That you don't have net neutrality, and yet now you have all these internet companies buying up media outlets. So what are they going to do? Let's say you subscribe to AT&T, and you can get all the Warner stuff you want. HBO, you can get the movies, you can get the comic book, but I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to get Showtime that's owned by CBS. We don't own that. And they have the right to cut it off.
Well,
right.
Then you subscribe to a service that has it if that's what you want.
But then you got to surprise. What I'm saying is they're going to start dictating what you're able to watch and not watch depending upon what they own. And that's not good.
I don't know. You know,
I don't know. How's it good, Phil? Phil,
you don't ask for Lincoln.
Phil, how's it good? How's it good? How's it benefit you or me?
Well, you know, everybody.
No, wait a minute. I'm asking you.
You want everything.
No, answer this question. You want it all. No, answer this question. Yeah. How is it going to benefit you?
Well, because I'm going to pick a service that has
no.
That I want.
Right now, you pick a service, and they have to they carry Showtime, and they carry HBO, and they carry this, and they carry that. But if all of a sudden they say, "Well, we don't have that," okay, and the other one does. But wait a minute, hold on a second. Right now, you're getting it all in one place. How are you being served if this goes into effect?
Okay. Well, right now, I'm using Sling. So with Sling,
Sling has nothing to do with what we're discussing. And by the way, where Sling is concerned, how is Sling delivered to you?
Over the Roku.
Over the Roku. And how's the Roku served?
Over the Internet.
Over what Internet company?
I have Wave now. I had Comcast.
Suppose Wave says, hey, no Sling.
Well, then there'll be something else to choose from.
And suppose they say no Sling. Suppose all those companies say no Sling and force Sling out of business. Because they've got their own version of the same thing.
I have a choice of not using that company.
You still haven't told me how this benefits you, and it doesn't. It just clearly doesn't.
Well, it's their business. I don't really care what they do, how
you don't care what they do. It comes out of your pocketbook.
Only if I subscribe to it.
Yeah, but let's say, just for shits and giggles here, that all these companies buy up media outlets, and now that you have net neutrality is gone, and they can say what you can get on their system and what you can't get on their system, and all of them say we don't want Sling, or any of these companies that you can like DirecTV, for instance, now, where you can buy all these channels and so on. Same thing as Sling, but they say we're not going to carry these things because they eat up too much bandwidth. They'll use that as an excuse. How about this one? Yeah, we're going to run Netflix, but unfortunately, we're charging Netflix quadruple the amount of money we were charging them before, and so I guess your Netflix bill is going to be like $30 a month.
Well, then GABNet will become much more popular than it was.
Well, I doubt that.
You're going to have to start doing programming, original programming.
Yeah,
it's a GABNet original.
Oh well, no. Suppose AT&T or let's say Wave says, well, we don't like what Alex Bennett is doing, so we're not going to let you listen to it.
Yeah, they're probably right.
No, you're making a joke, Phil. But,
okay.
but look at the reality of this. Look at
as far as I'm concerned, I would be better off with less TV than more. And I don't really care whether I have HBO or Showtime.
You're changing the whole nature of the discussion. About what you don't care if you do or don't.
But you asked me what I thought would happen if I was restricted.
Let me reverse this. Ray, how would this affect you? Do you think?
Oh, it just makes things more difficult, and you end up having to pay more money. You're going to end up having to pay more money to more people if you want everything,
or if
you want certain things. I'm already seeing it somewhat. Like if you don't have a Roku, say, if you have, I have some other devices, and none of them have Amazon Prime.
Really?
I don't know why.
You're right.
So to get Amazon Prime, I have to put it through my laptop and put it through Chromecast to watch it on my TV. It's a pain in the ass.
I had Apple TV, and they weren't carrying Amazon. They finally did because they were shamed into it.
Yeah.
But they weren't carrying Amazon because they didn't want it to compete with Apple. Because Amazon sells records too. And
I think maybe some of these smaller devices that aren't Roku, Netflix probably says, okay, we'll go on your device, but you can't put Amazon Prime on there.
No, Netflix doesn't say. It's not Netflix that says that. It was Apple that was not putting Amazon Prime on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Roku.
No, but I'm talking about. I don't have a Roku. I have I watch these things through my DVD player, my son's Nintendo thing.
You have. It's like you have a smart.
Yes, and also
TV.
Comcast. Okay, Comcast. I can watch Netflix. I can watch everything except Amazon Prime through Comcast.
Yeah, but if you hook up the Nintendo and let's say it's capable of playing apps, it has smart TV services in there. You can get Amazon through that, right?
No.
Really? Because
maybe on the Nintendo, but not on Comcast.
For instance, in my cable, my FiOS, you can directly go on FiOS to Netflix, but you can't go to Amazon. But I don't give a shit. Because I've got a Apple TV and I've got a Roku, and it built into the set itself. I've also got the LG. I've got Amazon built into the TV, so I don't need to necessarily have that service have Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't have a smart TV, so I have to run through Amazon Prime through my Apple laptop, and then connect that to my Chromecast, which is connected to the TV, and then I can watch Amazon Prime on the TV through the Chrome web browser.
Yeah.
Now, is there a particular reason you didn't want a Roku?
Oh, I had one, but it broke.
Oh.
It crashes constantly. Something's wrong with it.
I've got a Roku 3, to tell you the truth, I like it. You know, I don't have
I think
the
it's
latest TV.
I think it's terrific.
Just get a new one.
But you know, if you don't want to spend $79 for that array, you can get what's called a Roku stick, and that's like
the stick, yeah,
$39.
Okay.
And I put one of those in one of my TV sets, like the one in the kitchen, so that where we have a TV set, so that we can watch it, and it works beautifully. You know.
Does it work just as well as a regular, the more expensive Roku?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not 4K, you know.
Oh, I see.
But if you don't need that, you know, the Roku.
I don't have a 4K.
I don't think I have a 4K.
But if you have
TV,
if you have the Roku 3, it will play on 4K. Hello, Patrick.
Hi.
Did you hear what we were talking about at all with the fact that you know that AT&T just got the okay to buy Time Warner, which, and then the next day, or within the same day, net neutrality died. So now you've got a internet company, an internet provider, who owns all these companies like Warner Brothers Movies, HBO. We could go on and on and on. And at a future point, they could say, we want you to buy our product. We don't want you to watch Netflix. We don't want you to watch Showtime.
Was Trump against the merger of AT&T and Time Warner?
I don't know. I think he was. Yeah.
So how did it get pushed through? Because it went through without any resistance.
Ajit Pai is an asshole.
Yeah, no, but it had something to do with Congress, or it got pushed through somehow.
No. The FCC made it law. Okay. Now, Congress has nothing to say about that unless they want to, and there are people in Congress working to repeal or bring back net neutrality. Mm-hmm. Okay. But whether that will happen or not, it's a lot harder to get things done than undone. You know, you had a commission there, the FCC, suddenly saying, boom, 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 no net neutrality, and so then we got to put that back into shape. Yes, Ray?
Well, I just don't know what happened to all the laws against monopolies that used to be enforced. You know, it seems like it's. Yeah. You remember when they were just after Microsoft, like gangbusters, suing. Every country was suing Microsoft for being a monopoly, and now no one seems to care.
What happened? I'll tell you what happened with Microsoft is that Microsoft became a monopoly but didn't realize it. Okay, it was while they were asleep that it happened. You know, one day they're a little company and they still think of themselves as a little company. They're sitting up there in Redmond, Washington, and they're doing their stuff, and all of a sudden somebody says, you know, this is you know, antitrust and so on, and you're going, gee, I guess we did get that big while we were.
Well, the other thing they did was they started buying small. I mean, they started putting stuff. They started putting capability into the operating system that would destroy small companies. Like
no, they weren't.
There was
doing
a
that.
company that would do compression, and Microsoft put compression in Windows, and there were two companies, and they suddenly went out of business, like overnight.
There was also like it wasn't McAfee, but it was a different one that they didn't include in their package.
No, what you're talking about is the Netscape Explorer.
Netscape, that's it.
The dust up, and that was that they were putting Explorer. When you bought Windows, it had Explorer burned into the code. Okay,
yeah, that's yes.
Whereas you had to go out of your way to get Netscape to work. They didn't make it not work, but you had to go download it and use it and so on. And that's what they argued. Now, the thing that Microsoft argued, and it was a good argument, is that the reason they wanted to have the Explorer is because the Explorer would be the same thing as your Finder and a lot of other things. In other words, it became an integral part of the operating system, not separate from it. And they wanted to keep it there. But, you know, what they said was you have to have the ability to get rid of Explorer if you don't want it, or to be offered or offered all these others, or Netscape gets loaded into Microsoft when you install it. But that's what that was all about. What we've got today, and what Ray said, and it is a real problem if we think about it, is that you can't name very many companies that own internet outlets. You know, there's a handful.
It's a monopoly,
and they're all merging. Everything's merging with each other to a point where there are maybe 3 or 4 big companies, and that's it. And if you don't do business with them, you know, and that is we have created monopolies.
Yeah.
And I thought we had created laws back in the 30s or 40s against that, because it was happening with the oil industry and the automobile industry and steel, and now we're just ignoring
Well, this
them.
bullshit started with Reagan. This bullshit started with Reagan. Okay, he started loosening up on all this shit, and let the market dictate, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But the fact is that you allow businesses to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They're not going to do the right thing. They're only going to do the right thing for that company. To say that they're suddenly going to become, giving and caring and prices are going to drop like crazy, you're out of your mind. That's not what they're thinking of. It's not up here. It's not in their DNA.
I think people rebel when they start getting fucked by business. That it's up to business to do the right thing in order to build a solid long-term customer base. And
well, if you believe that, then look at the world around you, because that isn't the way things are working.
It's up to business to build a bigger wallet.
But Phil, that assumes that people have a choice. So if you eliminate choice, no matter how upset people are, if they have no choice, then they're stuck with the behemoth.
If your
my choice, pyramid. They're all just bigger pyramids.
For instance, in Manhattan, if I want internet, I only have 2 choices when it comes to internet in my home. I either have Fios or Spectrum. That's it.
Is that because of regulation, local regulation?
Well, originally there were local regulations, and those regulations are all across the country. You know.
Yeah, where they limit the number of providers.
They give out franchises. What they do, they give out the
if these providers merge, does that mean there's room for another provider to come in and compete against them?
Probably not. You know, if something
try, but they'll get crushed or something.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about, you know, it's like in radio. Let me explain something to you. I use radio as the best example because it's the one that I know. And if I get a little weird here, it's because I'm lightheaded tonight. Anyway. When in radio, if you want to start your own radio station, Phil, you and I get together, we get some money, we buy somebody's stick somewhere, and we got a radio station. And we know that I'm a great broadcaster, and I know other great broadcasters we can bring onto this station. We're going to have the best fucking radio station in the world. I can be number 1, and I won't be able to survive against these clusters. Okay? So to be a singular station and be number 1, I'm sorry. Just, you know, you're not going to be able to make it. Because you have to be, because the clusters are what are making it. Yeah. So
and you can get good, but most of the time those big companies will come in and say, "Hey, you're really good," and sweeten the deal so good that you'll sell it off for a good amount of money and walk away with it.
Yeah, but even if you didn't do that, the fact is you would have as a singular station in a market, you would have a hard time surviving.
Yeah.
Okay, you would have just a ghastly time surviving. Yeah.
And you know, Alex, you're not the only radio personality who's out doing what you're doing right now. There are a bunch of them, and they're all having a hard time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah. You know, look. You know, I said that out of work in broadcasting. What is it? No, the internet, the podcasting are out of work broadcasters. You know, I mean,
could you start the Alex Bennett School of Broadcasting?
Well, apparently I'm not that good at it, because look at me. I'm wearing a cardboard belt. You know.
It's recyclable.
That sounded like Christopher Walken.
No, that was Zero Mostel and the producers. Look at me, I'm wearing a cardboard belt. Yes, Ray.
You know, Alex, I was listening to you on TuneIn when I was walking, and TuneIn sometimes loops if it gets behind.
Yeah.
And it kept repeating. You kept on repeating. I had sex with Harvey Weinstein. I had sex with Harvy Weinstein.
Wait a minute.
I had sex.
What do you mean? I don't get that.
Okay, so when I listen to TuneIn on my phone,
yeah.
if the signal gets behind the broadcast, it loops backwards until it catches up.
And I wound up saying I had sex with Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah, like 5 times in a row.
Well, that's not tonight.
Tonight.
I didn't even
when you were talking to Bubs.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't listen to the interview because I already did it, so I didn't have to listen to it. Well, it was
probably only on TuneIn.
Yeah.
It was just funny because you were repeating it over and over again. I mean, TuneIn was forcing you to repeat.
Well.
Hey, when you were talking about Jack Benny, I was listening. I was trying to listen to some of his old radio shows, and it's weird because you hear the audience cracking up after a joke that wasn't very funny, but they're laughing at him because of what he's doing physically. Yeah. And so you can't see it. You hear them laughing, and they're laughing at him because he's doing that look or whatever.
Yeah, right. The way he turns his head.
Yeah, but on the radio, unless you know who Jack Benny is, you have no idea why they're laughing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the old Jack Benny routine where he's getting robbed, and the guy says, "Your money or your life." And Benny pauses, and he pauses, and he pauses, and then the guy who was played by Sheldon Leonard says, "Hey, bud, I said your money or your life." And Benny, with the perfect timing, just waited the scintilla of a microsecond and said, "I'm thinking it over." The whole audience broke into laughter. It is known to be the longest laugh in the history of radio. It was 45 seconds. Didn't die down. It was the perfect Benny joke, but it was all based, I'm sure, a lot of it, on what he was doing in the studio with the audience, too.
Yeah.
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 But
I used to love to watch him and Lucille Ball when he was on the Lucille Ball, the reincarnation of the Lucille Ball show.
Yeah.
And he would be a guest on there. Yeah. Those are the episodes I loved.
Yeah. But anyway, so what's happening is that a singular radio station can't make it anymore, and the fact is you got these behemoths now. You've got these super. Now there's a fight going on. Comcast is trying to buy Fox because Rupert Murdoch is getting rid of most of Fox. Not getting rid of Fox News. You'll be happy about that, Phil. But he's not getting rid of Fox News, but he is getting rid of all the TV networks that he has and the movie company. And I don't think the publishing. I don't think the publishing goes along with that, like the Wall Street Journal and whatever. And Comcast is trying to buy that, but Disney is also bidding for it. Do you know what Disney owns these days?
Everything.
Everything. All the Marvel stuff. Marvel, Star Wars stuff. I mean, they're rolling in it. Okay? And they're the most successful media company in the business. And when you've got a behemoth like that, and then you've got AT&T or Comcast buying up somebody, forget it. All media is going to be controlled by 3 companies. And is there room for you, the independent? Probably not. Where are you going to get it on the air? Where are you going to get it into a theater? The only thing they can't own are the theaters, because there was a rule made years ago they can't own the theaters. The theatrical distribution they can't own the means of theatrical distribution.
Don't they get all the money from the show, and the theater just gets the popcorn and concession?
It's a sliding scale. It starts out the first week, I think everything goes to the company. Second week, the theater gets like 20%. By the time you get to the 5th week, the theater's getting something like 60%.
Yeah, but there's nobody in the theater watching that show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So they got to make their money off their $8 bucket of popcorn, where the box probably costs more for them to make than the popcorn.
Yeah. Well, the box actually tastes better than the popcorn in many cases.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I mean, that's how theaters make money is the concessions. Like for instance, try and bring in your own concessions. Walk in with the soda and walk in with the popcorn. Watch what happens. And by the way, that's a suit waiting to happen. That's like Microsoft. Like you got to take Explorer, right? You got to take our browser. You can't bring in your own.
I walked in with a big Starbucks soy latte once, and they told me I couldn't bring it in, and I said that I'm not putting it down on the ground and throwing it away, so I hung out and drank it. But
I always wear a large coat and hide everything under. Yeah.
If they did that to me, I would probably say, you know, you're really setting yourself up for a big antitrust suit here, because you can't tell me that I can't bring my own nourishment.
Yeah.
You know, that I have to drink the swill you're serving at the what do you call it counter. I got all that sugary, sweetie stuff and this stuff filled with the cyclamates or whatever they put in it for non-sweeteners. Non-sugar sweeteners. I don't want any of that shit. I want to bring in I have my protein shake here. I'm bringing my protein shake in, right? No, you can't do that.
I wonder what they would do if I said I'm bringing in my service dog. You know?
Oh, they'd have to let you.
They'd have to let you, but I don't know about your service peacock. You know, they've had a problem with that.
You know why AOL went out of, really lost favor with people?
Because it sucked?
No, because nobody could spell it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. By the way, did you hear that? Now, you remember when Rudy Giuliani married his current wife, Judith, it's because he was cheating on his former wife with Judith. And now he and Judith are breaking up, and she's complaining that he cheated on her. Now, she should have seen that one coming. But they showed the woman who he's having an affair with now, and all I could think of was, how do you kiss Rudy Giuliani without throwing up in his mouth?
Isn't it his cousin, his second cousin or something that he's dating?
I have no idea.
I read something today that his either his ex or his future one is his second cousin.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't the one that just dumped him? Wasn't she living up in the spare room while his other wife was dying? His ex-wife was dying of cancer or something like that.
No, she was dying of cancer. She didn't die. No, you're thinking. I'll tell you, you're thinking of. I think what's his name? Huh? Newt Gingrich.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of Newt
Is the guy that served his wife with divorce papers while she was in the hospital with cancer. She recovered, by the way.
Or John Edwards, same thing.
John Edwards, same thing. Yeah. But by the way, Newt Gingrich's wife, I think, is still alive. She didn't die of it. So, but what a sleazeball, you know. And wait till she gets out of the hospital. Yeah, but. You know, we're dealing with disgusting. I'll tell you, I've met a lot of these Republican conservatives in my time, and I've interviewed them. And I have to say, like, I like Mike Huckabee, charming guy, just a really nice guy. Hate his politics. I told him that to his face. I said, I hate your politics, but damn it, you're a nice guy. You know. The guy who was the governor who went to jail, they just got Blagojevich. Loved him. Loved the guy. Terrific. You know. Who else? The guy who wound up on Dancing with the Stars, but he also went to jail.
Who's the black guy that hates Jews that you like?
Farrakhan. He doesn't hate Jews, Phil. No. He does not hate Jews.
Giuliani's first
wife. However, if he met you, he might change his mind.
Yeah. Giuliani's first wife was his second cousin.
Really?
They were kissing cousins.
Good. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, so anyway, what I was going to say is that I met a lot of Republicans who I thought I would hate and that I really liked. They were good people. They were decent people. I enjoyed being with them, and they had a sense of humor, and I could kid them, and I could tell them, hey, look at me, I'm a radical leftist, and here I am with you, and ha ha ha. We had a good time, right? Newt Gingrich was a fucking asshole. I never met a bigger fucking asshole than Newt Gingrich. Well, I did, actually, Roy Cohn, but it comes close second. Newt Gingrich,
did he do to you?
No, you know what it is? No sense of humor. No sense of humor about yourself or about the world around you. He was just a absolute prick.
You mean he was a serious guy?
Yeah. No, he wasn't a serious guy. He was taking himself too seriously.
Yeah.
You know, Mike Huckabee, make a joke about Mike Huckabee, he laughs. You know, that's the true test of a person. You know, that you pull a little joke at their expense and they get a good laugh out of it. You know, and they know you're kidding and whatever. But not Newt Gingrich, not this guy. I got him good though. First time I interviewed him, I didn't throw him any hardball questions because I wanted to get him to come back. Then he came back the second time, and in the middle of the interview, I said, how come I see on all those interview shows on Sunday? I said, isn't that the Lord's Day? And he said, oh, well, I go to church first, and then I go. No, I said, but it's the Lord's Day. You're not supposed to go do those shows.
I heard he converted to Judaism.
Newt?
Yeah.
We don't want him. We don't want him.
They got me.
No, but he's a slime bag, you know. But, oh, by the way, did you hear Sarah Huckabee is quitting?
Yeah. By the end of the year.
End of the year, yeah.
Can't take it no more, huh?
And her assistant, her assistant is leaving too. They're both leaving. Yes, Patrick.
It's a job because she has to lie all the time. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think Huckabee is quitting because he misses his fucking television show that he had on.
No. Sarah Huckabee is quitting.
Oh, spokesperson.
Yeah. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I should have said, and you would have known what I was talking about.
Well, now that Sean Spicer has become the darling of the media, maybe he'll come back and he won't have such a tough time with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they'd have a field day with him.
Well, they like him, you know.
I think they should bring back the mooch.
Yeah.
There you go. Actually, give him another chance.
I heard him on Fox this morning, and he comes across as a pretty intelligent guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
then you're pretty stupid. Then you're a pretty stupid person if you feel that. or you're gullible. Well, actually, you know, gullible isn't in the dictionary.
No. Really. Hey, Siri.
No, don't do that. You just heard it go ding.
Yeah, I heard it.
I was going to buy another Echo and put it in like I don't know. Nobody calls them Echo. That's what they're called, but they call them Alexas. And put it. I was going to put it in here, and then I went no, because my other one has Alzheimer's and starts talking. You know, just babbling something that it's incoherent, answering a question nobody asked. You know, so.
Is that the way you make friends? You know, and now you got these little spots that you put all over the house. So you have somebody to talk to during the day.
Oh no, I enjoy I'll tell you, I love my little spot. You know, that I have by the bedside that has the clock and the TV video in it and so on, and. You know, reminds me of my appointments and things like that. And then the regular Alexa that I got when the first one I got, the Echo, and that one's in the kitchen, still working just fine. The only thing was, here's something that happened the other day to me. And here's how I get really stupid, okay? All of a sudden, my extended Wi-Fi isn't working. It died, you know. Just wouldn't connect. I tried everything, all right, and it wouldn't work. So I immediately run out of the house, and I run down to Best Buy, because I need it now because my Echo doesn't work without it. My watches and things like that don't work without it. Wi-Fi on the phone doesn't work, you know. So I got to replace it now. So
Wait. Did you unplug it?
Yes. Oh, I did everything.
And replug it in?
Oh, I did all of that. I did all of that. It just would not. It would not connect.
Just checking.
Hey, it's been around for about 4 years, and it went bad. That's. So I run down and I say I just want a Wi-Fi extender, and they say, well, here they are, and I figured I'd buy the best one because I wanted one that had like tri-band so that it would go all over the apartment. And it was $169, $189 with tax or something like that. And I take it home, and I look online at Amazon, and of course on Amazon it's $145, $25 cheaper. But I couldn't have ordered it from Amazon because I needed it then. The one thing I forgot to do was look up Amazon on my iPhone and say, they're selling it for $145. I forgot to do that because I was in such a rush to get the goddamn thing. And then I figured, well, what I could do is take it back and say I don't want it, and then buy another one, right? And then do it. But I said,
give you a store credit
for $25. I don't need that kind of grief,
They match Amazon.
Yeah, but they at the time of purchase, but not after the fact. I can't call them and say, "Hey, I just saw it was 145." But that's the one thing I basically needed it for was that the Echoes weren't working because they weren't getting a Wi-Fi signal. I do have a Wi-Fi signal coming out of right here in my studio, but it doesn't go through the whole house because these walls, as you can see, are pure. These are so thick, you almost can't knock them down.
Are there bars on the windows?
No.
Oh, well, when you got thick walls like that, it could be a penitentiary.
Yeah. No, we don't have bars on, especially on the 8th floor. If you're on the 1st floor, you have bars. Especially in Harlem, or in the old days in Harlem, not now.
They don't come down from the roof, second story guys.
No. Well, every now and then, your girlfriend says there are only 3 apartments on this floor, okay? And girlfriend, you left the door unlocked. I'm going, do you see that? Do I look raped? I mean, is there any furniture missing that I'm not aware of? No. Well, then don't give me a bad time. I'm sorry, I left the door open. Here's the thing she does. Occasionally when I'm cooking, I cook on the stove, and then I go and I move the stuff to the plate and then to the sink. But what I sometimes forget to do is turn off the gas. And the reason I forget to turn off the gas is it's so quiet that I don't hear it, So she'll come home and see that I left it on. And I'm in here working, doing something, posting shows. Come into the kitchen. Why? Just come into the kitchen. I said, I know why you want me to come into the kitchen. I probably left the burner on. She goes, yes. And I said, okay. Would you turn it off for me, please? No, I want you to come in the kitchen and turn it off yourself. You'll learn a lesson. I said, how many times have I done this? She says, about 100 times. I said, did I ever learn my lesson? She said, no. I said, then why don't you turn it off for me? Just turn it off and say, you know what you did? You left the oven on. But no, she wants me to go all the way in there. So I started going in there, and I said, I'm not going to go turn it off. And she's now pushing me towards the kitchen. You got to turn it off. You got to turn it off.
There are cooktops now
that is a female thing
that are like electronic, and with a special pot or pan, when you set it on the cooktop, it cooks and it heats up. But you can touch the surface of it if as long as you're not touching it in that pan, it's not hot. And
well, it's probably convection.
That's induction.
It's induction.
That's it.
I think they've been around for years.
Yeah, exactly.
But I prefer to cook with a flame. I really do.
I would too,
because you can control. You can because you can control the heat.
Yeah.
Next time, just say, Alexa, turn off the burner.
Well, no, I can't do that because it's not electronic.
That's all right. You can still say it.
Yes, right.
You know what I did a few months ago?
What?
I have one of these hot pots, that you just plug in and it heats the water up really fast.
Yeah.
And I I put it. I don't know what I was thinking. I put it on the stove and turned on the stove, and it's rubber on the bottom, and I had a 3-foot flame in the kitchen, rubber burning, and the whole house was full of rubber smoke, and I froze, and my wife had to put out the fire, and we all had to leave the house for a few hours and turn on all the fans, and
stinky.
There's nothing
Oh
worse.
my God!
Than,
I felt like a complete idiot.
There's nothing worse than rubber burning.
Yeah,
I know that. I know that from having. I know that from having protected sex. Thank you very much. I'll be here all day.
Didn't the firemen people come?
God, I don't know. When I'm loopy like this, I'm really very.
Because my wife put it out pretty
What's
fast.
strange is I'm loopy and tired, and I'm more cognizant of everything. I have no idea why. Anyway, I'll find out Tuesday. I'm going to die. So when it comes to working out and things like that, I never run out of breath or anything like that. Then I work up a sweat.
Maybe you don't have any blockages like me.
Well, I don't have any blockages. I just have this mild stenosis, which he checks. He'll probably check it this time because he's got his big stenosis machine. Yeah. He bought this. It's about, what do you call it?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound, yeah. And then he looks at your chest and sees, oh yeah, it's the same as it was before. It looks like it was a couple of years ago. He just checks it to make sure it doesn't get worse. Yeah.
He's got a video of somebody other than you, and he uses the same video each time. He really doesn't have the machine.
Right. His phone. Yes, Jeff. Jeff knows about the heart. Here we go.
All right, so here's your test. I want you to start with the last month of the year, and I want you to tell us the name of each month going backwards.
Backwards? December, November, October, September, August, July, June, May, April, March, February, January.
He's drunk. Arrest him.
He's good. He's good.
Did I do it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But can you do the alphabet backwards?
No.
There are people that can do that. I don't understand how they do it, but
well, the only reason we can do it forwards is because we memorized it in school. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to say it by rote. Yeah.
It's very difficult to do it backwards.
Well, I can start Z. Huh? Okay. X. Y. X.
When I was a kid, my dad memorized it backwards. And used to do it really fast.
But
don't they do that as a sobriety test?
Now, why did you give me that test, Jeff? What's that a test of?
Well, I went to see my doctor today.
Yeah.
And that was one of his tests.
Really? How did you do?
I was okay. Having a stroke, you get a little disadvantage.
Yeah.
But always had to figure there's alternate ways to get there from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Somehow I could do it, but I only missed 1 month.
So if you haven't had a stroke, you can do it pretty easily, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be able to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because
but it's a good. It's a good. Let's say a very inexpensive test.
Yeah, but what is it testing though? Your cognitive abilities or something, or?
Yeah, the way to how to think about an area that you know in a direction that you normally don't think about.
Yeah.
It's just the opposite.
So what did you go to your doctor for? Just a yearly checkup or whatever?
Yeah.
He wanted to know what month it was.
I think he knew.
Yeah. But anyway, so the blowout from what happened in Singapore is still, you turn on, depending on the channel you watch, it was either a success or a blazing failure. And nobody really seems to agree, although I tend to think that it was a kind of a non-starter. It is what it was, and It was a meet and greet.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Does Kim Jong-un play golf?
He will.
Yes, he will. At the North Korea Trump golf course.
Mar-a-Lago North.
Mar-a-Lago North. Yeah. Oh, well. You know.
Trump said.
Oh, by the way, I got something. I know what I got. Go ahead. Say what you were going to say there, Jeff. I just got to get this piece of paper.
I was saying that Trump was absolutely told everybody that it was a very big success.
What?
And a very good success, and the guy from North Korea was a very nice person, smart, and very interesting. And, he had a wonderful time.
Well, you know,
I it was like his.
Do you know when the president travels?
What are you going to do? You want the guy to give up his nukes? You're going to tell him he's a moron? You know.
Well, here. First of all, do you know that when the president travels in Air Force One, what's in the cargo area?
The Beast.
The Beast. Do you know he took Kim Jong-un out to see his car?
Hey,
yeah, showed him his CD player.
An election by saying, "Would you buy a used car from this man?"
Yeah, right.
And, you know.
Anyway, who is, of all the networks, who is the one that Trump trusts the most?
Fox, I would assume.
Yeah.
Fox. Yeah.
And who is in his pocket, pretty much?
Hannity.
Fox. Well, Fox. Fox got the first interview with Donald Trump since he became president. You realize he hasn't done a real sit-down interview since he was president. And since he became POTUS. And the TV news turf this evening after Fox political anchor asked POTUS about his just wrapped-up summit with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Now, Brett Baer, one of the toadies over there at Fox. And Baer called Kim a killer who has executed people. Pretty good of Baer, to call him on that. Trump responds, are you ready? Now, let me remember again, Baer said he called Kim a killer who has executed people. Trump said, he's a tough guy. When you take over a tough country, tough people, and take over from your father, I don't care who you are, what you are, how much of an advantage you have. Huh?
Yep.
Wait a minute, let me finish. If you can do that at 27 years old, that's 1 in 10,000 who can do that. He's a very smart guy, a great negotiator, but I think we understand each other.
Hey,
Baer countered that Kim has done really bad things. Yeah, but so have a lot of other people. That's a whataboutism from our president.
Well, there was one thing that I thought was kind of striking, and it was kind of said under his breath. He said, Kim is president for life, and Trump said, not a bad thing.
I could go through a lot of nations where a lot of, hold on a second, these pages stick together. If I bought more expensive paper, they wouldn't. I don't know. Bad things were done. Trump then boasted about the document both men signed. Nobody thought we were going to have an agreement like that. What, bullet points?
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Yes, nobody thought I'd come with that little. Things were given to me that were not even part of the agreement. I got them after we signed the agreement. What, 3 out of the 4 points that are there that are less than, they're only 1 line each?
Trump has a simple way of doing things. He wants his tax code to be 1 page. This is what Trump does. He likes to.
Yeah, he wants a 1-paragraph tax code that says how much money did you make? Take it all.
Why do you need a 40,000-page tax code when it's they've made these things so complicated.
Where did you hear it was 40,000 pages?
Well, I think it's even more than that.
No, I don't think it is.
Somebody look it up. I got to pee. I'll be back.
Really? Why don't you just run the catheter over there, Phil?
I'm done with the catheter.
Oh,
you know, it was easier with the catheter.
Yeah, why? Hey, are you wearing the diapers right now?
Yeah.
Well, just pee in your pants while we're talking.
Well,
I mean, if I ever get the diapers, man, I'm peeing wherever I want to.
All right.
No, no. Go to the bathroom.
We want to see you do that dog face look.
Yeah, that. Did you ever see the film Dirty Rotten Scoundrels? And Steve Martin is trying to play a retard, and he goes, "Pardon me," and he goes, "Can I go to the bathroom?" Michael Caine says, "Why, Rupert, of course you can." And then he just sits there and
he gives you that look.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite pictures, by the way. Oh, here you. Boy, that was a quick pee.
Which movie was that?
That's not like the old days.
No, bam, boom. You know, it's just that I raise one leg and squat now.
Like a puppy?
Yeah.
No, what happened was the first time I ever used Flomax.
Yeah.
I thought I was actually chipping porcelain. You know.
Yeah. Good flow.
Yeah. But you know what I miss as you get older? Remember when you were younger and you got up in the middle of the night and you had to pee and you had a hard-on? And now you had to stand there it was a whole scientific principle you had to work out, like trajectory, you know,
angles,
how far back to stand from the toilet. Women don't know this. You know, but we had, you know, and then, and it arcs just right into the toilet.
Angles and geometry involved. Yeah.
Bob Slayton used to say when he would pee in the dark, he'd pee by sound. And you know, it's true. Men pee by sound. I don't turn the light on. I just go in.
Well, I've tried that, and I've gotten it all over the floor, but the sound sounded the same as porcelain. Yes, Patrick.
Using a catheter every time I have to go. If I have a hard-on, I have to wait until it goes down because the catheter is not long enough to go all the way.
Bragging.
Oh, all right, stop bragging. Stop bragging.
Oh, come on, Pat.
It's a 14-inch catheter.
Oh, come on, Pat.
Oh, it is. It's a 14. It's called a 14 French. You can look it up. And what it is because your urethra goes up and down, and it's a wave. It isn't a straight shot through, so it has to.
Foley? Is it a Foley catheter?
No, not.
Oh, because what they gave me was a Foley catheter.
Right. Yeah, Foley catheter that's the one that has the inflatable ball that stays inside your bladder. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't hard on.
That's the one that sound effect guys use. The Foley catheter.
Patrick's trying to tell us he's 16 inches.
Hard on just makes it even more difficult because the length just doesn't get to the
bladder. If you have a hard on, what you're telling us is only a little bit of the catheter is coming out there.
Well, yeah, it's only a little bit is hitting the bladder.
Oh, so I see. You got to go all the way back to the bladder. That's why the 16 inches. I see.
So you have to insert one all the way to the bladder just to pee?
Yes.
I pee like 14 times a day.
Phil, there are two holes in it. It's like a siphon. It's that way to. I mean, you put it in and it comes out. So it's a way for me to do it. I mean, unless I want to sit and wait and just piss my pants. But
Kevin's thinking about a catheter.
On those commercials.
Boy, being a paraplegic sounds like a hoot.
On TV about the easy catheters. How does that guy do it while he's flying an airplane?
Absolutely, you can do it.
You just hang it out the window.
Holy shit!
Well, the pilot has what do they call those stewardesses that will do it?
Well, if it's a private plane, and if you're a black guy, you can just throw it out the window.
Throw it out the window, yeah. I guess.
Well, it must be. It sounds like
that 15 inches doesn't do it for
Don't
Patrick.
start talking about your dad now, Ray. Stop it.
Wow. Well, folks,
Here we
where else
left
can you hear
turn,
us?
left turn.
Where else can you listen to a program where 1 minute we're talking about North Korea and the next minute we're talking about catheters? And we could very soon be talking about catheters in North Korea. So, you know.
Do they have them, you think?
No.
They're not 16 inches there either.
Yes,
no, they're like 3 inches.
Yes,
maximum.
Patrick.
There was one important thing that was answered with that summit is how tall Kim Jong-un is next to Trump.
Yeah.
Because he's taller than I thought he was.
He was wearing elevator shoes.
No.
He was.
Is he standing on a box?
No, he was wearing like Sammy Davis Jr. shoes.
No, but he wasn't. He's not short. I've noticed that in the past. He's not a really short guy. Trump is 6'2".
Right.
So you know, Kim Jong Un had to be approaching 5'9", something like that. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that with Pompeo too, because Pompeo is a tall guy as well. And I would just, I mean, I had heard it on a number of different.
You know who's tall is Comey. He makes. He towers above Trump.
He's huge.
Oh, yeah.
He's huge. You know, I got to say something about Trump. This is going to be the only nice thing I have said or will say in the foreseeable future. But I noticed him getting off the plane. I think he's lost some weight. I think he's supposedly on a diet, and I think it's working. I mean, he's still, you know, it's like, well, how does Trump look thin? Fat. You know, but it's still, he has lost weight.
He cut his hair.
No,
I think that's it.
Yeah, no.
His hair gets shorter all the time. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but they can't stop doing the comb over, otherwise you'll see the scar from the scalp reduction.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's why he wears it that way.
Yeah. Here's what I often wonder. How long every morning it takes for somebody to do his hair? Because that is a masterful piece of architectural elegance. All right.
It's gotta be.
Don't they have a hairdresser for the president?
I would imagine they do. They didn't have to have one for Obama.
No.
You know, he woke up every morning, his hair looked the same. Okay.
That's just a buzz cut, yeah. But there's got to be an artist that does his hair.
Artist. I mean, yeah, it's got to be.
It's exactly the same, and it's.
And you know something? What he should do is stop doing the sun bed or whatever.
Oh, spray paint.
Because either that or blind yourself and don't get that like white here. It looks. Come on, who are you trying to fool? You're a 71-year-old fat fuck, balding.
Is that spray on?
Have some dignity.
It has to be spray paint.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's spray on.
Really?
Yeah.
Or do they just take a bag of Cheetos and upend it on his face?
Maybe that's why he goes to Mar-a-Lago all the time. He's just getting a lot of sun, but
airbrush.
It doesn't look like tan. It looks like spray on.
It looks like Cheeto dust.
Yeah, it's airbrush. It probably just airbrush his face, you know, and put a couple quarters on his eyeballs and.
Yeah, little things like swimmers use.
He probably uses those coins. Puts those on his eyeballs. His
cucumbers. When I go to the spa, they got cucumbers that you can put on your.
It's the Kim Jong Un coins that he has.
Yeah,
those are valuable now. They probably got handed out during the conference.
Now the big news going on today was that what's his name, Cohn, the president's lawyer, or lack of lawyer, I don't know how you want to describe him, was going to be arrested, but I don't think he did.
No. Some people say that they really don't have anything that they can arrest him on.
Well, no, there's something. It was supposed to be the New York authorities, that it was something that he did that was
parking tickets.
No, it was wrong.
He's a fried egg on the griddle. He's about ready to flip.
Oh, he will, because to begin with, he's a family man. You know, he knows he wouldn't do well in prison. You know,
He's just cooking on one side. He's getting ready to flip.
Yeah, I think he'll flip. I don't think that he's going to sit around and hope that the president will pardon him. He's the guy they want to have flip more than anybody, even over Manafort. Although they got so many things on Manafort. Do you know he's wearing 2 ankle bracelets?
Yeah, you said that last night.
Maybe one. What?
That's
one.
So if they cut him in half, they can find one half of him out in the river.
No, but why do you?
They can at least find one half.
Why do you put 2 ankle bracelets on somebody in case one falls off? You know,
they cut them in half. They can find one half.
Or was it like 2 jurisdictions and they both wanted to have
Yeah, there you go. You can stand on the bridge. You can be in Virginia and D.C. on one side, you know.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, I think that Cohn is the man who knows where all the bodies are buried, because he was the fixer for Trump.
And all his lawyers bailed on him today, right?
No, he got rid of him. Well, they may have bailed
They're
on
gone.
him. But
Do you know that the coin is going for between $65 and $275 on eBay?
Where did that come from, Phil?
I was just looking at
it on eBay.
The what is going? The Bitcoin?
No, the Trump Kim coin for the summit.
Oh,
is going for between $65 and $275.
Well, I would bid on it right now, Phil.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's a piece of history. Did you see the pictures of Trump and Kim Jong-un? They don't look anything like them.
Oh, the ones on the coin, yeah.
Yeah.
For a while, these challenge coins were a thing that a lot of people would get. You know what a challenge coin is?
Yeah, the United States currency is a challenge coin.
No, Patrick knows.
What?
Patrick knows what a challenge.
What is a challenge coin?
Challenge coin is a coin that you can get from any number of organizations, typically military or fire department, police department. That it's a commemorative coin of a specific either action or a group, and
do you know how they were originally used?
Yeah, if you did something, you were given.
No. If you were behind enemy lines, and you needed to identify yourself, you used your challenge coin. It had to do with, I believe, World War II or World War I. It may have gone back to World War I, where a challenge coin was used to identify you if you were behind enemy lines and needed to identify yourself.
Or that on the inside of your jacket if you're a pilot.
But why? What made you bring that up?
Oh, because these were challenge coins that
they're not
summit coin.
No, they're not challenge coins. They were memorial coins, commemorative coins.
Yeah, but they use it as a challenge. Matter of fact, it even says challenge coin Kim Jong-un. Yeah.
What's the challenge? To try and spend them somewhere?
No. There's a. I'll look up the exact definition of a challenge coin, but it has a very interesting past.
Well, so my question is this Nobel Prize winning time for Trump?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Do you think
keep the money?
You know what's going to happen when he doesn't get nominated, don't you? And you know how you get nominated? Do you know how the nomination process? Huh?
It's going to be the Democrats' fault he didn't get nominated.
No. You know how the nomination process goes. There's a nominating committee, and anyone who has ever won a Nobel Prize can nominate somebody.
Oh, it'll be Obama's fault then.
Yeah, it would be Obama's fault. But if he doesn't get nominated, I want to see that tweet. Yeah. Okay. The fake award giving antiquated old school award Nobel Prize thing. I'd much rather have Miami. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't get one. Yeah. So I just think that they don't want him anywhere near where is it, Oslo, where they do it? Yeah.
Or Geneva?
No.
Yeah.
I think it's Oslo, Norway, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Not now.
course, he should win the Nobel Prize because, after all, what did Nobel invent?
Oh yeah, the bomb.
The explosives, dynamite.
Explosive, yeah, dynamite, yeah.
The man who created dynamite started the Nobel Peace Prize because he realized what he had wrought.
Now, Hercules, the city of Hercules, is where they had the Hercules Dynamite Company, and
Well, you come out with facts that just. Boy, your brain just farts like crazy. The Hercules Dynamite Company.
Yeah, but what did that have to do with the beginning of? I thought that's where they got the beginning of that stuff, dynamite.
No, dynamite was invented by Alfred Nobel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And did he have anything? No, he wouldn't have had anything to do with Hercules because he was in.
No, because he was in Norway. Yes, Well, let's see, Patrick, then Ray.
This is totally off when you said filled brain farts, all sorts of shit. Just reminded me, I had a dentist appointment today, and my hygienist, who is a very, very attractive young lady, accidentally belched while she was cleaning my teeth, and that was the greatest thing in the
she
world.
Accidentally, wait a minute, be a little more specific. She accidentally bounced what?
Belched.
Belched. Oh, belched.
Yeah.
I thought you said bounced. I thought she threw her tit in your face or something.
Her jugs.
No. I was so impressed with that she was so comfortable with me that she let out a belch, and I don't. Oh, that's great. So sorry, you just reminded me of that when you said.
Well, you know when you know your marriage is really settled is when she farts in bed and doesn't say "excuse me."
Oh yeah.
I had a friend that used to date some of the most beautiful women, and he would break up with them within about 2 weeks of starting to date them. And I'd ask him, why do you just dump them when you're in the honeymoon period? And he says, well, this is the first 2 weeks nobody farts in front of each other, and he says that it's the best part of the relationship. So he says women are like streetcars. If one comes by, you get rid of them, and then you get another. So
what an asshole!
Yeah,
what an asshole!
Yeah,
there's no respect for women.
I got a challenge coin here, but I don't have the.
They're not. I found that in my life, women weren't like a bus or whatever you said, a streetcar. They were more like Siamese cats. Open the door and they're gone. That's what I found.
Trump just got nominated a couple hours ago by 2 Norwegian lawmakers for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go. At least he got nominated. Now he can shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other people in front of him. You know who I would give it to? What's his name? The basketball player. Rodman. Dennis Rodman. I give it to Dennis Rodman. Well, he started the whole, let's face it, let's be honest, he started the whole ball rolling, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh?
That would be hilarious if Dennis Rodman.
Did you see that documentary that he did on the trip?
Yeah.
Where he's crying?
No. This is prior when he first went over to North Korea. I saw a documentary. It might have been on Netflix.
Kevin sent me the link to him crying on CNN.
Was he lost?
In a way, I felt kind of sorry for him because, in retrospect, I mean, let's be honest about this. When he came back, everybody was joking. Oh, Rodman, he's hanging out with a dictator. Yeah, what an idiot! What a fucking moron! But now, in retrospect, how big a moron is he? He started the whole ball rolling.
I thought
that's what I was telling you about, because I saw that interview live and I looked at him and he started CNN was asking him these questions and I'm going, and he started bawling and I'm going, this guy they shit all over him.
He's sensitive.
He started crying and shit and I'm going, they did shit all over him.
If you don't want,
but then, after a while you think about, he's probably looking for the spotlight and everything else, and you take 2 grains of salt with it. But
but I'll tell you something. I'll tell you
over there, and he did break the ice.
I'll tell you something about Rodman. You can't be very sensitive when, by your own desires, you look like you fell face down in a tackle box.
Yeah, he was banging Carmen Electra. You know,
right.
Yeah. Weren't they married?
Yeah,
that's
I think
what everybody
so.
looks at him and goes, "Okay, this guy's a nut." But
Patrick's got his hand up. The very hand he puts a catheter in with. Hey, Patrick.
Go ahead, Pat.
I was one of them that made fun of him when he went over a couple years ago, and I said the other night, I'll admit, maybe I was wrong about the whole thing, because really, he did, and I don't think he intended to get the ball rolling, but I think he did. And I heard some pundit last night, I don't remember what station it was on, and they said, the difference between Kim Jong-un and his father and grandfather is the two older gentlemen did not give a shit about Western culture or pop culture or anything like that.
Right.
Whereas Kim always has, he was educated in Switzerland. He had been exposed to the Western ways. And Rodman really, all by himself, tackle box face, tattoos, basketball, fame, and all of that encompasses everything that makes him curious. And they even said Trump himself is probably a curiosity for Kim as well, because, this is a Western leader. And so, the big difference is being a younger man versus the two older men. He's more interested in what.
It's a very interesting point you bring up. He is
played his game.
He
played his game.
He's also, he's a far more contemporary person than even Trump is, to be honest with you.
Did you see when Rodman first went there, there was a photograph of Rodman and Kim Jong-un sitting watching a sporting event. And one of the generals, the caption was, "I don't think this is Obama."
Yeah. Well, and when he was a kid, that's when they showed him, if you see the background to Kim Jong-un when he was what his name, Park or whatever his name was, only as a kid, he had all the jerseys and the tennies and all that crap when he was a kid. And now Rodman goes over there and he's bringing them tennies and jerseys and showing them basketball. And
you got to remember.
And then you got Trump going over there and saying, you could have a basketball team over here, and you could, do all this, and he's woozing them the right way.
And I got to tell you, you have to consider that at 36 now, something like 26 when he took over in North Korea, that he was only a few years removed from college. And the colleges he went to, he was listening probably to contemporary music. He was probably wearing contemporary clothes. The only thing was, when he became the head of the country, he suddenly had to wear that militaristic outfit to look like the supreme leader, because that's what people expected.
Well, it helped him kill people while,
exactly.
Oh, no, but he's a very talented man, and he's a very tough man, because there are very tough people in Korea. Bullshit. Fuck me. I can't believe this moron we elected president of the United States. Help me.
He could have gotten around all that shit and not said all that shit and still done the same thing, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you hear Trump give that little speech? I think he was exhausted, because at the end of it he said, well, maybe I didn't do the right thing, and in a few years we'll find that out, but I won't admit it anyway, so what's the difference?
That was a joke.
And it's always a joke.
No, I agree with Phil that was a Trump joke.
And it was actually funny.
It was a combination. It was a combination of it was self-deprecating. It was funny, but it was true. That's the problem.
Self-deprecating are true.
Yeah, I think Jeff's
falling.
I think Jeff going there. Jeff's falling asleep, I think.
Oh yeah, he is.
This must be an exciting show tonight. Oh, hi, Jeff.
Rodman's been going there since 2013. You realize that?
Yeah, he went back several times.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rodman was given a bad time for some of the same reasons that Trump was. But he's not a world leader, and that was that because of the human rights violations on the part of Kim, to be pals with somebody like that. But, I mean, in retrospect, this whole summit might not have been possible if Rodman hadn't kind of, tested the waters.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about him saying about Warbanger, about him giving him all the credit?
Who?
About Otto.
Otto didn't do shit except steal a poster.
That's what he was saying, that it wasn't be possible without Otto. I don't know.
Otto didn't do shit. Otto stole something. Otto stole something, and in those cultures, it was a no-no, and he got thrown in jail, and he got treated like shit, and he died.
Punishment should fit the crime, and stealing a poster isn't worth isn't.
No, I agree with that.
And we all agree with that. What I'm saying is, what did he do to advance the relations between the two countries? Nothing.
Right.
I think it embarrassed North Korea to the point where they did such a hit job on this guy that it killed him, and that I think that it weakened their position, and they maybe it just opened up.
Do you really think, Phil, that Kim Jong-un gives a good diddly shit about the perceptions of the world about his country?
He kept lighting rockets.
Yes, Patrick. Patrick?
I do agree with Bill in some respect. I think with everything that was starting to culminate to a possible summit, and that with Otto's death, it did put Kim in a bad light. And with Rodman having been going over there for so long, and the possibility that, we don't know what Rodman said. Rodman may have even indicated to Kim, if you chill the fuck out a little bit, maybe, something can happen.
Well, I do know that one of the things he did is he gave him a copy of The Art of the Deal and said, you should get to know who our president is. That is one thing that he did.
And he hadn't been over there since Otto had been released, though, had he?
No.
I don't think he'd been over there.
I don't think so.
No.
No, maybe that's another thing, and maybe Kim, and I know this sounds bizarre, but if Kim really felt that Rodman and he were friends, and Otto died, maybe he was thinking, well, Rodman's not coming over because we really fucked up.
Yeah. That could have been too.
And I mean that seriously as well as tongue-in-cheek, because if you've just really, he's a kid who is enamored with Western stuff, and this friend of his, that's Rodman, he doesn't want to lose that.
Hey, listen, we got to go.
We can only hope.
Thanks to Ray Renati. Oh, well, you can always call Jack. Patrick, thank you so much. Very good stuff tonight. Same with you, Jeff. Phil, argumentative as always, and misinformed, but I love you anyway. And Kevin, thank you so much. Why doesn't everybody give a big wave goodbye? And we'll see you again, hopefully tomorrow night. Bye-bye. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the esteemed citizens panel. Let me get rid of them here. I have to clear out the line so the next show can use them. And I'll see you again. Let's see, tomorrow night after we have the exchange with Damian Chaplin at 9:30. Jack and Amy are next. And then after that, at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern Daylight Time, it's Connections, or Conniptions, as I like to call it now and then. We'll see you again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.